Hello everyone, Cindy here. Hopefully you're doing great. So we have already finished Armored Core 6 and we finished all of the playthroughs and that game is so good. Um and now we've been blessed. We've been blessed by another anticipated Souls-like game that's not from software. Lies of P everyone. And then I've actually played the demo of this game and I haven't beaten this boss in the demo. However, when I played the actual game, the boss was pretty easy, and I actually really am enjoying this game. Right now, I think I'm in the middle of my playthrough. I think around 50 or 60% of the game, and so far I've been enjoying it. Um, I believe the gameplay is around 40 hours. I think. Um, I'm about 15 or 20 hours into the game. So, yeah. So, The Lies of P is actually a Souls-like game that's based on the famous I think is it Fable or the story Pinocchio. So, in this game you basically play as Pinocchio battling the game's iterations or their takes on the villains of um, Pinocchio's world. Uh, you have Jiminy Cricket as your guide, and I'm actually not deep into the lore of Pinocchio, but the characters from the story Pinocchio are here, like Jiminy Cricket, um, Geppetto, of course Pinocchio, and all of the other characters that are mentioned in the story. So I think I can share my thoughts, my fair share of thoughts regarding the game so far. It's actually, I think this is um, the most optimized and well thought of game, a Souls-like game that's not from software. And all I can say is that it actually delivered. The hype actually delivered for its price tag. I think around $50. Yeah, I think $50. It's actually worth it. I still haven't finished the game, and I believe you have like NG plus or something. So there's replayability, but I think it's limited replayability. It's not like the other games where you're basically if you want to finish the whole story, you have to like Armored Core, you have to play the game 3 times. Anyway, I'm here to talk about my thoughts, like the positives and negatives about the game. So let's start with the negatives so that we can end in a positive note. Um, my concern about the game is that it's actually if you have they actually um, they actually told me my friends told me that it's closer to Bloodborne or it's like Bloodborne basically. Um, I they think it's Bloodborne because the feels or the aesthetics of the game feels kind of inspired or heavily inspired by Bloodborne, as well as like when you focus or when you target something or an enemy, and you dodge, it dodges on the side. It's not like Dark Souls or Elden Ring. Um, However, I think the major gameplay or battle mechanic is the parry. So when you battle these enemies or the bosses, basically you can parry all of their attacks. Um, However, I can actually compare this one with Sekiro. However, the parry mechanics in this game feels kind of harder than Sekiro because when you parry on Sekiro, you feel like there's a rhythm, right? When you memorize or when your muscles memorize the attack pattern of the bosses, you can parry. You can time your parries because there's a rhythm. However, in this game, I feel like there's a lack of rhythm and mechanics of certain bosses, or almost most of the bosses don't have rhythm. Like the the attack patterns are so erratic. That's why it's really hard to accumulate muscle memory when you're battling the boss. However, is this has some this has some caveats. I'll discuss it on the positive end of the our review. So that's one. The the parry is kind of bit hard to master in this game. And then my second reservation is that the dodge mechanic, when you are playing as Pinocchio, when you're playing, basically the first, like when you're new to the game, when you're starting the game, basically your dodge is really clunky. Like it's really clunky. It's because the quality of life that we know um, from when we dodge in Bloodborne or Dark Souls or something, there's quality of life. Like you can spam your dodges, or you can when you get knocked back, you can press your dodge button, and your character will dodge to the direction that you're inputting. However, in this game, those quality of life are locked behind a progression or a skill tree, where you will choose whether to unlock that quality dodge quality of life, or to unlock a um, attack boost or something. So basically, that's one of my concerns, because um, the attack patterns of the bosses um, is gradually increasing. Like um, it's so fast, where even some mobs or some ads in the overworld can actually one shot you from full health to 0 HP, because some ads will stagger or animation lock you, or stun lock you, because your character doesn't have poise. So there's actually a really tight window to escape from that stun lock or animation lock. So yeah, uh that's one of my concerns. Like the dodge should have like quality of life, so that you can I know if I will get good comments, but um yeah, quality of life in dodges are it shouldn't be locked behind a skill tree or skill based system. And my third concern is that your character, no matter what weapon you equip, and no matter what stat you're building, your character has close to zero poise. There's there's a mechanic in the game where I think it's closer to Sekiro and Wulong, where if you parry a certain number of times, the stagger bar, the invisible stagger bar of your enemy, gradually gets filled out. And once that stagger bar is full, the enemy's health bar will glow white, which means the enemy is in a like a vulnerable state or a staggerable state. And for you to stagger the enemy, you have to land a charged heavy attack for them to be staggered, and you can riposte. My problem is that most weapons require like a wind up when you do like a charge attack. However, when the enemy is in that state, or no matter what the enemy's state is, they will cancel your charged attack if you haven't timed it like a millisecond correct um, timing. So basically, the window for you to attack the enemy is really tight, wherein you have to like the room for error is really tight. So basically, this game is like a harder Sekiro. However, that that difficulty is like an artificial difficulty. Sorry, my dog is asking for water. Hold on. Okay, where was I? Yeah, sorry about that. My dog actually asked water. He brought his um water bowl in front of me. Anyway, yeah. So basically, your character is really vulnerable at all times. Um, yeah, that's why you have to memorize the patterns correctly and memorize when and where you can do a heavy attack for you to stagger the enemy when they are in a staggerable state. That creates a stress for the player because when we see, or most casual players, if they see that the the life bar is blinking white, or the health bar is blinking white, they are forced, or not forced, but they are pressured to do like a heavy attack for them to land the stagger. So I myself have experienced that because you want to kill the boss, right? And um yeah, you have to plan your staggers, if you can stagger or not. And basically you have to give up those staggerable states if you're not in a good place to do a heavy attack. I think that would be all, um except for the de novo. But yeah, I think that's all of my reservations or my negative criticisms regarding the game. Now, for the positive side, I think this game is really good. The aesthetics is really, really like close to Bloodborne. Like the feel, the ambience of like a post-apocalyptic world, wherein puppets are like in a state of enraged state or something. It's really, it does capture the Victorian. I think this is Victorian era, right? And yeah, soundtrack is good as well. I actually did not. This is the first game that I did not lower the background music because I'm loving the classical music in the background. And even though I said earlier that there's a clunkiness in the game, the mechanics, like the arm, the legion arm, and you can combine your weapons and you can craft your weapons and whatnot, really really is a good thing for me. I'm having fun experimenting builds and whatnot. And even though I said that there is a problem with the dodge and all of those stuff, you can this game actually lets you summon a specter that you can it's like a mimic tier in Elden Ring, but more weaker. However, it does draw aggro from the bosses. And I think besides that, the throwables in this game is really really good. In Elden Ring, I haven't like um haven't used the pots or throwable materials um in my whole 3 to 4 or 5 playthroughs. In this game, I actually exhausted all or some of my ergo or souls just to buy those materials. And uh, the combat mechanics, despite the dodge, the poise, the parry, I think it's really good. The animations from the enemies, the animations from yourself, it's really good. I think this is the best Souls like that's not from FromSoft that I have played so far. The lore is really interesting. However, there are characters that I kind of I did not feel like um the voiceovers from of other characters. So that's one. But overall, the story is really interesting. You can't believe that this game is actually based on Pinocchio. Like, it's not one to one, I think, but I think 80% of Pinocchio's lore is integrated into the game. And um, yeah, there's also like fights where you're like fighting the human being, because the tracking in this game is insane. Like, it's like Monster Hunter Rise, I think, or Monster Hunter Iceborne. Like, the tracking is really really unforgiving. Like, if you make made a mistake, like the slightest mistake, it could make or break your run, for that particular boss. So this game actually requires patience, which I did not have in the first, like, half of my playthrough, or the second half of my playthrough, because I was actually want to progress really far so that I could make videos and not be spoiled by other content creators or other videos. So yeah, if you actually want like a Dark Souls or something harder than Sekiro, but that difficulty is, for me, is artificial difficulty, but it's a really really good game, then most likely try this one. I think it's available on Game Pass. I actually regret buying it before trying it on Game Pass, but I've already bought it, and I was actually enjoying the game this whole time. So yeah, give it a go. It's really good. Um, I hope you will have fun playing as Pinocchio in a Dark Souls setting. I think that would be all, guys, and thank you so much for watching the video. If you're still watching the video, hit the thumbs up and drop a subscribe. I think that would be all for Lies of P. Thank you so much, guys. Jane.
You stole my sister from me, rotten puppets! Scream a requiem for me, if you would.
Tu as rien fait pour chercher à me plaire. Ton amour ardent, rien que le sang tu seras mon jour.
You stole my sister from me, rotten puppets!
Comme enfant suprême, je te suis parfois, mais tu reviens quand même. C'est plus faux que moi.
Attire as your sister. As promised, we always...